to make some branches.
But the first thing I want to talk about is we're going to go over one of these trees that we've already made. I'm going to show you that you start out with the smaller branches on top, larger, larger, and larger, and larger, and larger, all the way down. It gives it a pyramid style look, which is pretty much what Mother Nature does. The branches don't have to be exactly the same in size, because they aren't in the real world. And on this tree here, which is one of the size of the 3/8 inch square one we carved, the 65 foot tall, this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different layers of branches or tiers of branches within it, and predominantly there's 4 circling it each around the trunk. You get down here and we start adding this one here, and it starts out with 5. We have 5 here and 5 here. It can actually spread out with 6 farther down you get. And the larger the tree goes, the more that you'll have. By an idea of comparison too, when we were talking earlier about the branch spread on the trees, this one here has about I'd say close to a 25-foot branch spread that I measured out on earlier, from here to here on this tree, and that's in scale feet. Here's an example of the one like the 1/4 inch square balsa trunk that we carved. This one here has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 layers or 7 tiers of branches on it. And this one here gets down into, we did 5 on this one too at the bottom here on this one. So, okay, it gives you an idea. You get the smaller, larger, larger, larger. Now we're going to start cutting some of these from the Caspia. Now this Caspia, we've already used quite a bit from here. Well, I'd say maybe 50% of it. And we've already made, not quite 50% actually, but we've already made around a dozen trees, pine trees from this. And out of the bunch Caspia that we get, you can make around 25 to 30 trees per bunch, or even more, just depending upon the sizes that you're making of the trees themselves and height. So anyway, we've already cut some branches here. What we're going to do is cut some more. So what we're going to do is try and cut some small ones for the tops, so you can get an idea. We already have some here. And when doing this, you'll use up the whole thing too, pretty much. There's not very much that would be set aside or possibly wasted. Trim that down a little bit. That'll be good on the top. And when you're cutting these, you don't have to necessarily look for a specific size while you're cutting it. Just trim what you want, because you're going to be using a bunch of this for your trees. And if you don't necessarily need it on, if you're making just a couple and you cut more branches than what you need, you can always keep them and use them later on your other trees. So cut a section from this one of the stalks here and work on it this way, because it's easier to work with this way, easier to handle. What I try to do is keep all the sizes segregated that I cut and try to match them all up. And the more you do this, and the more you'll be able to really identify what you have and your sizes and that. And like I say, you'll never waste anything. That looks good for a large one right there. So you can really see how it does have the natural branch structure of the trees themselves. Need some more of these other smaller ones. So we'll just work on this one for that. And we'll sort these out more in detail when we start doing the covering on them too. So. Okay, ready for another bunch. Now we're ready to go ahead and put some coating on some of our branches of our trees. So what I've already done is I pre-made some glue up here in a tub, white glue with 50-50 mix of glue and water. I made a couple of trays here for our turf. This is our coarse turf, our fine turf here. And so we got a bunch of branches here cut, so we're going to start making a couple of branches so you can see how it looks. Two things we're going to do is we're going to mix this up a little bit here to make sure it's still pretty mixed up. And it looks like it is. You don't need a whole lot of white glue anyway to do what we're doing. So you don't really need to mix the whole tub up. Okay, so the coarse turf we can put on the branches when we initially do one. So we're going to go ahead and do one of these so you can see what it looks like. So we're just going to take this branch here and we're going to dip it into our glue. Cover it up. And I'm just going to take it in the turf here and stick her in there like so. Tap to get some of the excess to drop off. And here we got a branch that's covered. And we're going to set it in our drying tray. Allow it to dry. And using a pair of tweezers we can do the smaller ones too. So you know, once you have these branches cut in that, this part of the process goes pretty fast. It's not something that you're going to spend, you know, that'll take hours and hours and hours to do. And just like I say, tap the excess off and set it in your drying tray to dry. I'm going to do a couple more here so that you get an idea of this. Just dip it in there, make sure it's covered. Okay. You can see how the glue is covered up. Oh, it's in between the pores on the branches there. And just go ahead and dip her in here. Tap. Gets the excess off. And that one's covered. Now the other thing we got here, we have some that we've already covered, some branches here. Let's take a look at this one. This one here we've already covered these. One thing you can do later on also is that you can take these, if you would like, you can put them into your glue a little bit. Just touch it up a little bit, like so. And then you can get some of your fine turf and just dab a little bit of that on there. That'll give you a little more texture on your branches too. And also you can do it with different colors to give you, you know, the shades to give you color variation. As this says here, these two are a little bit different in the coloring. Let's do one more. There we go. Okay. Looks pretty good. Let's do one of our larger ones. Okay, so anyway, that's just basically how to put the covering on the branches that you've already cut for your trees. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and cover a bunch more branches here, and our next step then is going to be to start putting the tree together. So we'll see you then.